What's up, fellow Kaiba Corp employees? This is Ryan again. I just wanted to present to you a bit of a combo tutorial video. This is for the Blue Eyes Primite variant, but I am going to go over just like the 1 and 1.5 card combos of the traditional Blue Eyes as well. Um, so you don't have to have the Primite. That's what I'll start on, is just like the regular Blue Eyes combos. Now there's plenty of people who've done this combo tutorial that are a lot better players than me. But I figure like, hey, like I'm active in the Discord. This is for the Discord, but I will be posting on YouTube. I'm active on the Discord, so you're more than welcome to reach out if you have any questions, and I will absolutely respond whenever I have the time. So yeah, I'll start into the combos here. So your traditional one card combo, I am going to keep this over to the side just because if we do get into some more like logistics of things, just having this as like the discard is going to be relevant. So it's typically just going to be your one card combo. So your one card is always going to be starting with your Sage. This card's probably the best normal summon in the Blue Eyes variant, any Blue Eyes variant, even if you're not, especially if you're not running the Primites. So you just start by normal summoning your Sage. Again, this is assuming you're going first, is the combo I'm going to be showing you. So you normal summon your Sage, you use the Sage effect, and you're going to search a level 1 Light Tuner besides himself. So you search the Maiden of White. Then you can just use the Maiden's effect right away to discard her and put the True Light face up onto your spell trap zone. From here, you can just link off the Sage into your Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Spirit's effect is going to search you the field spell, and then you can go ahead and activate the field spell. Just a quick note, don't ever do this. I'm doing this because I don't have a lot of space. You can't really see over here, which is where my extra deck off is cut off here. So a lot of people will play their field spells in the middle. Don't do that. It's just, you shouldn't do that, but just for the sake of the video. So the Spirit searches the Mausoleum, you activate the Mausoleum, and then you can do the Mausoleum effect targeting your Spirit, and that is going to send the Blue Eyes from your deck to the graveyard, giving a 100 attack to the Spirit. From here, you can use the Spirit effect to tribute it. The tribute is cost. Some people forget that. Some people try to effect veiler it, but the tribute is cost. So if they want to effect veiler or impermanent, they really got to do that on the summon to prevent you from getting the Mausoleum. So yeah, you tribute off the Spirit to resummon the Blue Eyes out of your graveyard, at which point you can use the effect of Maiden to summon her back out of the graveyard, and now you can just synchro summon off and go into your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So this in and of itself is a pretty good end board. I know it doesn't seem like much, just the True Light, your Spirit Dragon in your field spell, but honestly, like, the way the deck plays, you got to remember too, you're going to have 4 other cards in your hand. I just have this on its own right now because I'm going to show you a couple of divergent paths. But you have 4 of the cards in your hand. Those could be hand traps. You know, you might set down imperms. You might have other things to do, like you could have started with a different combo line, but assuming the only playable card, the only normal summon you had in your hand was the Sage, and you didn't open like Wishes, you can, you basically just go into this line here. So here, your Spirit is your 5th summon, right? So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, that's your 5th summon. So here is the nib check. So you say, attempt to leave main. Now remember, you haven't used your True Light yet. You can do the set or the summon, depending on what's going to happen here. So if you attempt to leave main and your opponent says that's fine, they do not have the nib, you're in the clear. You go to end phase. In the end phase, you activate your True Light. Now, I think the best thing to do here, not summon your Blue Eyes from grave, but instead, you go into your deck and you set your Majesty of the White Dragons. So you currently have 1 Blue Eyes in grave, so this is just a non-target pop 1. So you set that face down, you go to your end phase, you obviously proceed your end phase, and then you go to your opponent's turn. On your opponent's turn, you can tribute this off, go into your ultimate Spirit Dragon. You have the Omni Negate, you have True Light, you can revive your Blue Eyes, which will in turn revive the Maiden. You do also have the Majesty for a pop, and then whatever other cards are in your hand to start, you have that. Now, what happens if your opponent decides, well, no, actually, I am going to nib you here? So you go, okay, so you have a little bit of a different line of play. So you, again, haven't used your True Light yet. You attempt to end your main phase, and they say, I have Nibiru. So you go, okay, so you have to tribute this off to the effect of Nibiru. You're going to get the Nib token. Let's say they just put it in attack position here. It's your first turn, so it's not like you can attack with it, and it does have lower attack points, so if they want to start to deal damage to you, they're probably going to put it in attack position, whatever zone they decide is appropriate. For the sake of the video, I'm just putting it in the center. So, okay, you go here, so you stay in your main phase, because if your opponent does something that happens during the main phase specifically, you have the option to stay in your main phase. So you're going to stay in your main phase, and then you go, okay, I'm going to activate True Light's effect to set. You're not going to summon Blue Eyes out of grave here, because then you just end on Blue Eyes and a token, and you're not going to do a whole lot. I'm going to assume your opponent hasn't used an effect veiler at this point, because we've played like they haven't. So it's not like you're going to go into Lina, and also not every Blue Eyes deck is playing Lina. So we're not going to entertain that. But of course, whatever situation you find yourself in. So from here, you go, okay, I activate the effect of True Light to set. So here's where you're going to set your wishes with Eyes of Blue. Then you're going to activate your wishes, and here's where this card in hand comes into play. You're going to discard a card, whatever it might be. And then let's assume your opponent doesn't have the Ash here. If they have the Ash, unfortunately, you will just have to end your turn. And then on their turn, you can use True Light to revive Blue Eyes and summon Maiden. And then you just have a little bit more defense. So from here, yep, they activate their wishes. So you're going to search Sage, and you're going to search Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. So here, you still have your additional normal summon from the Mausoleum. We haven't used that, so you will use your additional normal summon of Sage. Sage's normal summon effect is not once per turn, so we can search another level 1 Light Tuner besides Sage. You're not going to bother with the Maiden here, because you've already used the Maiden's effect, and she just wouldn't really do anything for you in your hand right now. So you're going to grab the Effect Veiler just to have an additional piece of follow-up, and then you can activate your Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your Banish, Graveyard, or deck in defense position. So we're going to summon the second one from deck, because now when we get to the Majesty later on, it will be 2 pops, or if they decide to try and banish one of the Blue Eyes with like a Bestial, then you have access to your other Blue Eyes as well. So here, you just synchro off again, and you go into your second Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. So here you have your Spirit Dragon again, you have the token, you have your True Light, and then on your opponent's turn, you can use True Light to either set, just keep in mind that whatever you set won't be able to be activated that turn, or you can use it to revive the Blue Eyes and then in turn the Maiden. When I do end like this after a nib, typically what I'll do is I will wait until the right moment on the opponent's turn to use the True Light. I won't fire it off right away in this position, like without the Primite engine. That will change when I show you the Primite combo. Just because if you summon Blue Eyes, like say during the draw or the standby phase, and then you, like, in turn you summon Maiden, and then throughout their turn they pop the True Light, you just have 0 follow-up, and then you lose your board, assuming that you either have activated this guy's effect, or you decided to tribute him off for, like, the Omni Negate in Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit, or whatever else. If this is still on the board and you have committed to the Blue Eyes, it's okay, because when this gets destroyed, its effect activates in grave. It's a mandatory effect, and you can just chain this to negate. It does become a little bit fragile, because like your opponent could always negate this with something potentially, but it is something to keep in mind that Spirit Dragon does protect you from True Light as long as you haven't activated his negate on field yet. So that is the first combo, and then of course, like I said, you know, you can wait if your opponent tries to target the True Light. You can always chain it to set the Majesty from your deck. Just remember that when you are setting with True Light, it can't be anything that you either currently control or have in your graveyard. So at this point, we have the Wishes and the Roar. So if you do play more than one Roar, you can't set that. And if you do, obviously you're going to be playing more than one Wishes, but if you haven't banished the Wishes for its effect to play the Tyrant Dragon, then, equip the Blue Eyes and then go into the Tyrant, then you can't do that either. So yeah, that's the first one card combo with the Blue Eyes deck, and I'm going to reset here. Probably gonna just cut this so you don't have to watch this, and go into the next combo. Okay, so now still on the pure Blue Eyes train here. This is going to be your more 1.5 card combo. So let's say that the only usable card in your opening hand is Maiden. So you get like 4 hand traps in Maiden. That's never a bad position to be in, but it's definitely less strong than what it could be. So yeah, so you'll use the Maiden, send to grave, and you're going to get your True Light, at which point you use True Light, and you're going to set the Wishes with Eyes of Blue. You activate the Wishes, and this is where the 0.5 comes in. You discard 1 card, and then the Wishes is going to search you your Sage and your Roar. At that point, you normal summon the Sage. Sage effect is going to search, so you're going to search the Effect Veiler because you cannot search Sage, and you've already used your Maiden, so you have Effect Veiler for follow-up or an extra normal summon if need be. This is where you link off your Sage to go into your Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Spirit with Eyes of Blue effect is going to search you your Mausoleum. You can activate your Mausoleum and then use the Mausoleum effect targeting the Spirit. You're going to send the Blue Eyes from your deck to the graveyard. And then from here, you are going to remember you cannot special summon non-dragons. When you have Spirit on field, he locks you into dragons. So you do not want to use your Roar yet to go into the Maiden. A lot of people will forget that you cannot go into Maiden when you have the Spirit up. So you're going to want to use the Spirit effect first. And again, you just want to kind of conserve most of your plays to the best of your ability. So you're going to summon the Blue Eyes, which is going to activate the effect of Maiden, so you can summon the Maiden. And then from here, like before, you just go into your Spirit Dragon, and then you have the opportunity to end your turn here. It is a little bit worse than when we opened Sage, because we did have to use the effect of the True Light, so we can't end on Majesty. However, you are insulated in the exact same way against the potential Nibiru. If you go to end your main phase here, they can try to Nibiru you. Of course, we just do the exact same thing as last time. You get Nibiru'd, that's gone. You get the Nibiru token, and then you go, okay, now I'm going to activate the Roar. You can summon the second Blue Eyes out of the deck. And then you go normal summon. My second normal summon is Effect Veiler because it is a level 1 Light Tuner. And then boom, and then you go into your second Spirit. And then again, it ends in basically the exact same way. Sorry, I hit the little camera stand here. I really need to get myself like a decent tripod because this thing sucks. It's just one of those arms that you clamp onto the side of a desk, so it's like super springy if I knock the camera, which is just my phone, at all. So we're gonna say, let's say you don't respect the nib. Now, I am pretty famous for not respecting nib, but if you decide that you're not going to respect the nib, that's okay. You still have plenty of opportunity to end on a pretty strong board. Now, of course, if you do get nibbed, if you don't respect the nib and you do get nibbed, you're screwed. So I wouldn't recommend doing this. But if you want to, a cool little thing you can do is from here you go, well, I've summoned this. I've already used the True Light. I want a little bit more. Okay, so from here you go Roar the Blue-Eyed Dragons, and you summon the second Blue Eyes White Dragon out of your deck. Next, you can use your additional normal summon to summon the Effect Veiler, and like I just described, like the post-nib play, you are going to go into your second Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Now, from here, you pass the turn and hope. Hope and pray your opponent does not have nib, because if they do, All you've got left is the 3 other cards in your hand that we didn't use for this combo, and you gotta hope that's enough. Now, assuming they don't, on their next turn, during their draw step, this is what I like to do. So they go draw for turn, I go activate True Light to summon. Assuming they don't have a response, you go chain Spirit Dragon, send for cost. And again, assuming they don't have a response, you go chain 3 Spirit Dragon, send for cost. So here, you summon the Ultimate Spirit Dragon, the Azurize Silver Dragon, and then resolving your True Light, which was Chain Link 1, you summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, of course, on a new chain, you have your Maiden. You also have your Azurize Silver Dragon's effect that when special summoned, all the dragons that you currently control, 1, 2, 3, are not able to be targeted by card effects and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, you now, on your opponent's draw, going into their turn, have this. You've already used the True Light, but you do have these 4 monsters. If they try to attack into the Maiden, she does have her effect. Remember that. You can resummon either a Blue Eyes White Dragon out of your grave or a Sage if she gets attacked or targeted. And then your other guys are pretty well blanket safe. Of course, if they go into a really strong monster, they can always attack over it. But you do have the Omni Negate from the Spirit, which will pump it by 1,000 attack until the end phase. On your turn follow-up, you do have this, which can target a normal monster in your grave and special summon it, so you can bring out a Blue Eyes. And then, of course, you do have just a Blue Eyes and a tuner monster. Assuming they don't get rid of them, you can go into another Synchro 9 play. Maybe you play the 3rd Spirit. I don't, but maybe you do. Maybe you want to go into... let's say your Lightstorm Dragon. If you're playing like Vermilion Dragon Mech or any other Synchro 9s, you do have the opportunity to go into those as well. And then, of course, if this does somehow get destroyed by battle or card effect, it floats into a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, so you can always revive one of the Spirit Dragons, and then you have a Grave Negate, so if True Light gets sent, that's whatever. The great thing here is if True Light does get sent, yeah, the Maiden will die here, but these 3 won't. And this is why I kind of like the Azurize package more than the Crimson Dragon package. I was on the Crimson Dragon package, but I decided to offload it because I just think that it's a little bit too win more. It does play into Nib harder. Yes, this move did play into Nib pretty hard. But you're typically not going to do that. I'm just kind of showing you the potential of what you can do. And then you... yeah, so instead of the Cypher Dragon, you can go into this, and the Cypher Dragon protects all your things from being destroyed once per turn. This for 2 turns, just blanket protects. I like this a lot more. It's a lot lower to the ground. You can just hard make it. You don't have to worry about, because if your opponent like uses Kashtira Unicorn and then banishes Crimson Dragon face down, you're out 3 to 4 slots in your extra deck, depending on how much you really play into the Crimson Dragon package. And Unicorn is absolutely real right now. It gets splashed into a lot of decks. There are several Malice builds that are running it. I ran into a Mimighoul cash deck the other day at Locals. So it's, excuse me, it is definitely something that you can run into. So that's the 1.5 card combo. It's basically the same thing if you you open Wishes instead. Instead of the Maiden, you open Wishes. You just use Wishes. Actually, you know what? Let me show you the Wishes option. It plays out basically the same. All these combos, they really end the same way. They just have slightly different steps. And like obviously if you're a bit more of an experienced player, you're gonna know this, but I am doing this for the benefit of people who are brand new coming back to Yu-Gi-Oh after a long time because they saw that Blue Eyes was getting a structure deck. So let me so we're back. This is the 1.5 card combo if you start with Wishes. Again, it's gonna be really similar, but just so people who are a bit newer and returning can kind of understand how the deck works a little bit better. So you activate your Wishes, and you discard for cost, so just the random card in hand, which I'm always going to treat like a hand trap, because otherwise it could add to better follow-up. But if you open like a Blue Eyes White Dragon, I love discarding Blue Eyes to this, because then it just gets a second one in grave for if you need to do any other plays with the other cards in your hand. But yeah, so... you go the Wishes. Wishes is going to search you too. So again, typically you're always going to search the Sage and the Roar. off of the wishes. So you do that, you normal summon your Sage. Sage is going to search you your Maiden effect to send to grave, to set up your True Light onto the field. And then from here, you just kind of do the same plays as always. Link off into your Spirit. Spirit searches you Maz. Activate Maz. Maz target. Gonna send the Blue Eyes White Dragon. And then from here, you tribute to summon. And then your Maiden affecting graveyard to summon. And then you can use these and go into your Spirit Dragon. And then here, this ends you basically the same way the Sage combo did. You still have the True Light activation, so you can use that to set your Majesty. And then you have the Roar in your hand, because again, your Spirit would be your 5th summon. So you can always, if your opponent decides to use Nibiru and this goes away, you go, okay, well, I'm going to use Roar. To resummon the Blue Eyes. Sorry. Actually, this one ends a little bit differently because you've already used the Maiden effect is something I just realized. So yeah, this is kind of important. So yeah, if your opponent does nib here, and you wouldn't have used this, you go, oh no, now I have a Nibiru token. That sucks. Well, doesn't suck too bad. Use your Roar the Blue-Eyed Dragons. Now, again, you did use your Maiden effect already. So Roar summons a Blue Eyes. Actually, you're going to want to summon it from the deck. My bad. So yeah, Roar summons the Blue Eyes from your deck, and then True Light can summon the Blue Eyes from your grave. And then you can link these two off and go into your seal. Yeah, sorry, that was a little messy there. Yeah, so you can go into your seals and then you just pass your turn. You have the seals and the nib token. You have your True Light. You have your Mausoleum. Then you should have 3 cards in hand. Hopefully those are some decent hand traps. On your opponent's turn, you have the interaction from the seal, so whatever they end up doing, you can always tribute the seal. And here is where you go into your Bestial Magnamute, and then you activate the Magnamute on summon, and then at the end of turn, you can add a dragon to your hand. Now, remember, when the seal summons out the dragon, no matter what it is, its attack defense go to 0, and that is permanent. That's not till the end of turn. I actually lost a match the other day because I was an idiot, and I put the Magnamute in attack position going, well, if he wants to attack into me with his Bestials, he'll have to crash one. No. I took 2,500 damage, I lost the game. It was stupid. It was a stupid oversight. You know, it was a long game. I made a mistake. Happens to everybody. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not very smart. But it is something that you have to keep in mind. So always just play in defense position. Don't be an idiot like me. And yeah, so you do that. You activate the Magnamute ability when you summon. And then at the end of turn, you can add a dragon monster. So if you are on the Primite variant, here's where you're going to want to grab your Ether Barrel if you haven't seen it yet. And then you can go into your Primite plays on the following turn. If you're not on the Primite variant, or you have seen your Primite and you just don't necessarily want it for the follow-up, you can search your Bestial Druis Worm, and then you have an additional piece of interaction in your hand, because you can banish a light monster or a dark monster out of the grave to summon it. You can always also do it out of yours if you really need to, if you're really desperate. Summon another big guy. He's a level 6, and then he has the ability when he's sent to the graveyard to send another card on the graveyard. Or, of course, if you're on the Jet Dragon instead of the Druis Worm, or maybe if you're running both and you want the option, you can go into you can grab the Jet Dragon as well. So then you have the Jet Dragon potentiality follow-up as well. So yeah, just a few different options here. And now I'm going to get into the Primite combos. So this is the Primite Blue Eyes combo. Now, this is one of the more common combos you're going to be able to use when you're on the Primite variant. So you are obviously on the 3 Ether Barrel, so it's pretty likely you'll see them in your opening hand if you're closer to 40 cards, which I am on 40. So this is going to be your like 2.5 card combo, which like when you start getting like, you know, 2 and above card combos, it starts to become a little more like, well, you're not going to see it every time. But like when you're running as many starters and as many one card starters as this deck does, like you're gonna get to some semblance of this combo. I'm just kind of going a little more in depth and showing you all the lines that you might see, just because it really does help. I found that when I'm searching for combo videos, it really does help to see just all of the ways a combo can work, even though it might seem obvious to a more enfranchised player. It does become really helpful to a new player when they just don't understand the deck or maybe even the rules of the game quite yet. They can kind of see the motions of how the deck moves. At least that's me. I'm a bit more of a tactile learner that way. So hopefully anyone else who wants to use this deck and has the money to drop on these fucking cards would appreciate that as well. So you're going first. You have these two plus a discard. So you're going to start by normal summoning your Ether Barrel. Ether Barrel is going to set a Primite spell trap from your deck. So you're going to grab the Lordly Load and set that, which you can just immediately activate. And upon activation, it's going to grab you a Primite card from your deck and add it to your hand. So you're going to add the Primite Drill Beam. At this point, you're going to activate the Wishes for Eyes of Blue. You're going to discard the Primite Drill Beam. This is because if they decide to ash you here, or even if they don't, but if they decide to ash you here, unfortunately, this goes down the toilet. But you can always reset the Primite Drill Beam because you have the Ether Barrel on board. And then the deck becomes less of a, oh, I decided to... it becomes less of a, oh, I neg 2'd, and now it's just, well, I got ashed, it's a neg 1, and that's kind of the same as just being ashed in any other circumstance. But, again, for the sake of combo video here, we haven't been ashed because our opponent doesn't play hand traps. They don't know what they are. So the Wishes is going to grab us the Sage and the Roar, just like every other combo we've done so far. And then, like I showed, we are going to use the effect of the Drill Beam because we control a Primite monster. We can reset it to our field. So again, we have... Like I said, it's like a 2.5 card combo. I guess we don't actually need the Ogre for the discard. It was just habit that I kept it. So yeah, just the two there. Don't worry about the Ogre. Don't pay attention to the Ogre behind the curtain. God, that'd be weird, eh? So you grab your two cards, same as usual. This is a level 4 dragon, so boom. You link it off, go into your spirit. Your spirit grabs you. Wrong card. Mausoleum. Activate the Mausoleum. Mausoleum. Send. And now we have access to Blue Eyes Engrave. From here, you're going to normal summon the Sage. The Sage is going to search you, your Maiden. You send the Maiden to set up the True Light. Sorry, I bumped the thing again. This is really annoying. I need to get a tripod. Yeah, so here we are. Remember, you cannot summon the Maiden if you have your spirit out. So at this point, you tribute your spirit, summon the Blue Eyes. So in this version of the combo, you are not going to summon the Maiden here. The reason why is because you want to play under Nib the best way possible. So from here, we've already done our barrel summon. We've done this summon. That's 3, and that's 4. So we're at 4. So if we go, okay, Maiden effect and summon the Maiden, on the resolution of the summon, they could just Nibiru you, which would suck, and you don't have access to your Spirit Dragon now. However, if you don't summon the Maiden and wait, you have a lot more option in the post-Nibiru, like, counterplay here. So you synchro these off, and now your 5th summon is going to be your Spirit Dragon. So here, we can just end the turn. Jeez. We can just end the turn. We haven't used our True Light. We have the Primite Drill Beam face down here, which in our situation, because let's pretend, the other cards in our hand, it's going to be the Roar, obviously, but let's just pretend they're hand traps. They're not Primite cards, and they're not Blue Eyes normal monster. Oh, excuse me. So we end here, and then we see if the opponent is going to do anything. So we attempt to end our main phase. If the opponent lets us leave our main phase, we have the option to, in our end phase, activate the effect of True Light. And then using the True Light, we can set the Majesty. And then we have access to the Majesty pop. Now, if our opponent does go for Nibiru here, that's okay. Because we can actually end either on another spirit. So again, let's say they go Nibiru at the end of main. Okay, we get the token. Whatever. And now we go, okay. Roar the Blue-Eyed Dragons. Summon out. We're going to go and summon out our Blue Eyes from deck here. And now that Blue Eyes has been summoned and we have not used the effect of our Maiden, we get to summon Maiden. And from here, we can synchro and go into our second Spirit Dragon. But we also have another option. Instead of going into the Spirit, instead of summoning the Maiden, although we can also summon the Maiden. So from here, you know, whether you have the Maiden or you don't, that's up to you if you want to do that. Guess there's no harm in really summoning it. It does prevent it from getting Bestialed on the opponent's turn, if that's what you want to do. So from here, we have not activated the True Light. We have not activated the other effect of Primite Lordly Load. So from here you go, okay, I have the Blue Eyes, I have the Maiden. I'm going to go declare effect of Primite Lordly Load, declare name Blue Eyes White Dragon. So now you can special summon in defense position a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So we have the other Blue Eyes in the grave, so we're going to summon that to the field. And then from here, we link to, those are both dragons, and we go into seals. So now on the next turn, we have the seals play. We have the interrupt from the seals to bounce something, and then the seals can go ahead and summon our Magnamute when that's gone. And then Magnamute's effect can search us. You know, we can grab another Ether Bale, but we will be getting ours back on the standby. Or my favorite, I like to search for the Druis Worm here. So you can search for the Druis Worm. Now, also, don't forget, on our turn there, we still have the activation of True Light. So we can use True Light to set the Majesty. The only thing is, when you use Lordly Load's effect to summon the normal monster, you cannot activate any more monster effects that turn. On the field, that is. So you can't, you know, if you were to somehow, you know, summon Mag from your hand, whatever, let's say it was in your hand, you go Mag summon, you can't use Mag's on field effect to search at the end of turn, because that is activated effect. So this way, you end a little bit stronger, or rather, pretty strong, here. So, you know, you go, okay, link off your Blue Eyes, you summon your seal, and then you move to your end step, and in your end step, you use the True Light to set the Majesty. And then on the next turn, when I have the Drill Beam set, what I'll do is on the opponent's draw phase, I'll use the effect of True Light to immediately special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. And of course, if you have your Maiden in the grave or a Maiden in the grave, you can always summon the Maiden back. And then, you know, if you didn't do it before, you have that now. So, and now that makes your Primite Drill Beam live, because again, we're pretending that we don't have another Primite card in hand to reveal. We obviously can't use the token for Drill Beam's non-reveal effect, because it says you can't. So you have to have the Blue Eyes on the field. So now you have a target banish and negate, or sorry, target negate and banish. You have the interrupt from this to bounce something to hand, and then you can summon out your Magnamute. Magnamute effect is going to extend you at the end of turn, add another card to hand. And you also have the Majesty, which at this point you have the Blue Eyes in your grave plus the Blue Eyes on your field, or even if at some point it goes to the grave, you just reveal both, and then you have a double non-target pop as well. And then of course, if your Maiden gets attacked, you can always resummon a Blue Eyes out of the graveyard, or you can summon like your Sage out of the graveyard. So I really think that the seal line is really good here because it adds a little more interruption. But again, if you want to be a little more modest, you can always go into your second spirits, and then you still have the option to set the majesty. And then, of course, you also do have the option, even with the second spirits, to use the lordly load to summon another Blue Eyes. Hey, you can actually also even just go into a Spirit and a Blue Eyes as well. But you will be down the Majesty. So instead of using True Light to set the Majesty after you get nibbed, you just go, okay, well, you use your Roar here to summon back the Blue Eyes. You haven't gone into Seals yet. So you summon the Blue Eyes, which summons you the Maiden, and then you go, okay, now I'm going to Synchro back into a second spirit, and then this is still set, and then you go True Light effect, summon, and then you go Lordly Load effect, declare Blue Eyes White Dragon, summon, and then you link both of those off and you go into Seals. So then now you have your you go to your end phase and your turn. On your opponent's draw step, you use True Light, you summon back Blue Eyes, and because Blue Eyes was summoned, you can summon back your Maiden. So now on your opponent's turn, as long as they haven't stopped you from doing any of that, which again, you have the Nib Choke point, and then there's, of course, like, if they decide to use, like, Veilers or Ash Blossoms or whatever, then you might have to end a lot more conservatively. But you do have the option to go into this end board, which again is your Nib token here, which your opponent's probably played in attack position because it has less attack points. You have your True Light, which blanket protects here. You have this, in case the True Light gets destroyed, you can always negate it, or you can use its effect to tribute to go into any of your other Light Dragon monsters. You know, you have your Ultimate Spirit for an Omni, you have Azure Eyes for protection, and you can revive a Blue Eyes. You have your Light Storm Dragon to pop back row, and you have your Black Rose Moonlight Dragon to be able to do more interrupts and bouncings to hand. And then, of course, you have the interrupt here, which gets you into your Magnamute. Magnamute being able to search you, say, the Druis Worm, or the Jet Dragon if you're running it, or another Primite Ether Barrel. And then you have the Primite Drill Beam live, because this is on the field, to target, negate, and banish, which that just takes care of a detonator on its own. It's fantastic. All right, so that's it. I think that's basically it. Again, all of these combos, you know, there's going to be interaction. The way I learned these was through watching YouTube videos and through just playing test hand after test hand. I test with plenty of people in the group here. You know, again, I'm going to shout out Colt because me and him have tested a bit. So, like, we've had a good time testing, struck up a decent friendship, and we always have a good time, you know, discussing Blue Eyes theory in the Discord. So, guys, again, if you have any questions, if you want to go over specific combo lines, specific like ways to play through interruption, you know, maybe you have weird hands and you don't really know what you're gonna do with it. This deck is pretty straightforward, but it can be overwhelming, especially to somebody who hasn't played the game in a long time. So please feel free to reach out. There's plenty of awesome people in the group that are willing to help out. So just let us know, and I'm sure someone will be more than happy to spend time to help you out. All right, thank you. Have a great day.